Think about a moment in your life when you were completely, utterly broke. Maybe you were staring at a stack of overdue bills, calculating whether you could afford groceries, or praying your credit card wouldn't decline at the checkout line. Do you remember how that felt? The tightening in your chest, the cold sweat, the inability to focus on anything else. Society looks at people struggling with money and passes a cruel, arrogant judgment. They ask, why do poor people make such bad financial decisions? Why do they take out high-interest loans? Why don't they just plan for the future? For decades, the world believed that being broke was the result of making foolish choices. But modern psychology has uncovered a terrifying truth that flips that entirely upside down. A lack of money doesn't just make your life harder. The mere feeling of scarcity literally alters the physical capacity of your brain. It suffocates your logic and temporarily drops your IQ. Welcome to episode 3 of The Money Illusion. Today we are exploring the invisible prison known as the scarcity trap. I'm going to show you how financial panic acts as a cognitive parasite, and by the end of this video, I will give you the psychological framework to break out of tunnel vision. You are going to learn how to make rational, long-term decisions, even when your bank account hits zero. To understand the scarcity trap, you have to think of your brain like a smartphone. Your phone has a limited amount of processing power, its RAM. If you open a massive, heavy application in the background, your phone starts to heat up. It glitches. Simple tasks, like opening a text message, suddenly take forever. Your brain has a psychological equivalent. It's called cognitive bandwidth. When you don't have enough money to cover your basic survival, the panic of that scarcity becomes a massive background program running in your brain 24/7. It consumes almost all of your cognitive bandwidth. You might be sitting at your desk trying to work, or sitting at the dinner table with your family. But 80% of your brain's processing power is secretly running a frantic calculation. How am I going to pay the rent on Friday? Because your bandwidth is hijacked, you have less brain power left over for everything else. You forget things, you lose your temper, you lack willpower, you aren't losing your mind, your mental RAM is simply maxed out. This isn't just a metaphor, it is a measurable, scientific fact. Harvard researcher Sendhil Mullainathan and Princeton psychologist Eldar Shafir conducted a groundbreaking study on sugarcane farmers in India. These farmers earn almost all their money once a year, right after the harvest. This means for the months right before the harvest, they are incredibly poor, and in the months right after, they are relatively wealthy. The researchers gave the exact same farmers cognitive tests before the harvest, when they were broke, and after the harvest, when they had cash. The results shocked the scientific community. When the farmers were experiencing financial scarcity, they performed significantly worse on the cognitive tests. How much worse? Their cognitive capacity dropped by the equivalent of 13 IQ points. To put that in perspective, losing 13 IQ points is the difference between average intelligence and borderline mental deficiency. It is the exact same cognitive impairment you would suffer if you stayed awake for 24 hours straight and didn't sleep a wink. Financial panic literally makes you less smart. This is the scarcity tax. When your IQ drops and your bandwidth is maxed out, your brain goes into survival mode. It creates a phenomenon called tunnel vision. Imagine you are looking through a dark tunnel. You can only see the bright fire burning directly in front of you. You are completely blind to the forest burning around you. When you are broke, the immediate crisis, paying the electric bill today, is the only thing inside the tunnel. The long-term consequences completely vanish. This is why a rational person will take out a payday loan with a 400% interest rate to fix their car today, knowing it will bankrupt them next month. The next month is outside the tunnel. To the brain in scarcity mode, the future does not exist. This is why people ignore a strange noise in their engine until the whole car breaks down. This is why people avoid going to the doctor for a small ache until it becomes a massive hospital bill. They aren't stupid. They are simply trying to survive the present second, and they have no mental bandwidth left to calculate the future. So, how do you escape the scarcity trap when your own brain is working against you? How do you make smart choices when the alarms are blaring? First, you must remove the shame. If you have made terrible financial choices while broke, forgive yourself. You were operating an impaired machine. It was biology, not a lack of character. Second, you must build slack. In engineering, slack is a shock absorber. In personal finance, it is a buffer. The financial industry tells you to build a giant 6-month emergency fund. When you are broke, that sounds impossible. Forget the 6 months. Your only goal is to save a tiny shock absorber, even just $500. You are not saving this money to get rich. You are saving this money as an IQ insurance policy. Knowing you have a tiny buffer silences the background alarm in your brain. It frees up your cognitive bandwidths so your IQ can return to normal, allowing you to finally plan your way out of the hole. Third, you must automate your escape. You cannot rely on a depleted brain to make good choices. When you do have moments of clarity, when you get paid, automate everything immediately. Automate a tiny transfer to savings. Automate your bill payments. Remove the decision from the equation entirely, so your exhausted brain doesn't have a chance to sabotage you. You now know how to protect your mind from the crushing weight of poverty. You know how to buy back your cognitive bandwidth. But a strange thing happens to human beings when they finally escape scarcity. Once we get a little bit of money and our survival is guaranteed, we do something completely insane. We immediately start throwing that hard-earned money away to buy things we don't need, to impress people we don't even like. In episode 4, we are going to expose the status game. I'm going to show you the evolutionary psychology of why we go into crippling debt just to project an image of success to strangers. Once you see the invisible strings of this game, you will learn how to cut them, protect your wealth, and command true respect without spending a single dime. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. You survived the panic. Now it's time to survive the ego. See you in episode 4.